Improving Participation and Performance in Physical Activity by James Smith. In this vodcast, we will be exploring many areas. Why physical activity is essential in schools and why as teachers need to encourage our students to participate. Exploring our scholarly articles. In this section, we'll be breaking down the main points of the scholarly articles found. Personal teaching strategies to deal with improving student participation in physical activity. In this section, I'm going to outline a copy of my personal teaching strategies to use within the classroom environment. Reflection of personal learning. This section is discussing my own personal reflection of my learning experience and the main points that I found to be the most outstanding when researching this topic. What challenges were faced? In this last section, I'll be outlining some of the challenges I found during this vodcast assessment and how I overcame these challenges. Before we go into further investigation and gain a deeper understanding of why it is necessary to encourage and improve student participation and performance in physical activity, we first need to understand and outline why physical activity is an essential part of the schooling process. As teachers who are responsible for the well-being of many students that walk in and out of our classrooms, we need to be asking ourselves, why is physical activity essential in school and why should we be improving and encouraging student participation? Some main benefits of physical activity that can seriously benefit students include: it improves cognitive function and focus. Physical activity is a way to release stress. It improves general mental health and moods, and it also reduces the risk of emotional and social anxiety, which unfortunately is an ever-increasing issue among young people in our society. The first article that we will be looking at was written by Maureen R. Weiss and is titled Motivating Kids in Physical Activity. This article adopts a motivational stance in identifying factors that strongly predict physical activity in children. According to Maureen Weiss, there are three major factors that affect youth's physical activity behaviour. These three major factors are perceptions of competence, enjoyment of physical activity, social support by parents, teachers, coaches and peers. Perceived competence refers to individuals' judgments about their ability in a particular area such as school, peer relationships, or physical activity. Youth who report stronger beliefs about their physical competencies are more likely to enjoy activity and sustain interest in continuing involvement than children who report lower levels of physical competence. Self-esteem plays a pivotal role in an individual's perception of their physical competencies. Creating an environment that will enhance children's perceived competence and helping children help themselves by providing them with self-regulation skills, for example, goal setting, that allow them to independently enhance their own perceptions will result in greater enjoyment, self-esteem, motivation, and physical activity behavior in all students. Providing enjoyable experiences is an essential strategy for increasing activity levels in youth. The attitude about the value of exercise and ultimately long-term health outcomes. Sport enjoyment can be defined as a positive response to an activity that reflects the feeling of pleasure and fun. Teachers need to be mindful of students' enjoyment levels and seek to offer opportunities of fun. Significant people have emerged time and again as sources of physical competence and self-worth, sources of enjoyment, and determinants of commitment to physical activity. Teachers and coaches who use frequent praise for desirable behaviours, gave encouraging feedback after students made errors, and who gave instruction following every performance were associated with players who were frequently higher in ability perception, enjoyment, and intention to continue playing. They also played a significant role in the students who had lower anxiety levels while being involved in sport participation. Parents are especially important as transmitters of information about their child's competence and the value of physical activity through using mechanisms of modelling and reinforcement behaviours. For example, parents who recognise and reinforce their child's interest and participation in physical activity through verbal and non-verbal means, and who model enjoyment of their own physical activity, convey the message that physical activity is an important domain. A student's peer group and close friends are powerful agents who contribute beyond the influence of adults to a student's physical activity involvement. Research has shown a very strong link between physical performance and participation and peer acceptance. Children and teenagers who are physically skilled and hold positive beliefs about their abilities tend to be the more popular students within the peer group. Students who feel that they are popular within their friend circle are motivated to continue participating and experience greater enjoyment in physical activity. The second article that we are going to summarise is from the Journal of School Health. It is titled Physical Activity and Sports Team Participation: Associations with Academic Outcomes in Middle School and High School Students. Previous studies have found that higher physical activity levels are associated with greater academic achievement among students. For adolescent students, in particular, sports team students' participation may be the major route by which they are physically active, and multiple studies suggest that participation on sports teams is also associated with better academic outcomes. For high school girls, both physically active and sports team participation were each independently associated with a higher academic outcome. For high school boys, only sports team participation was independently associated with a higher academic outcome. What we can see from this article is that although boys and girls have different outcomes, physical activity plays a significant role on the academic achievements of all students. Some teaching strategies that I'll adopt into my classroom to ensure that my students are participating and reaching their top performance levels are helping students learn the value of physical activity and the impact it has on health and social well-being, finding ways to make physical activity an enjoyable experience for all students of different abilities, involving parents or guardians in the learning process and activities, educating students on the health benefits of physical activity and how it can significantly increase their focus and cognitive function. Having previously had a significant understanding on the benefits of physical activity and its effect in everyday life, I brought into this assessment plenty of prior knowledge. However, I feel as if teachers often forget that some students choose to not participate, not simply out of laziness, but they may not feel adequate or comfortable enough to participate in physical activity in front of their classmates. In order to improve participation and performance for all students within physical activity, it is crucial that we determine their enjoyment levels, how they feel about themselves, and that teachers, peers and parents act as social support for all students, being encouraging and helpful. I have also learned the major role that physical activity plays on the academic abilities of students. Creating this podcast has given me insights into all the aspects and areas that are included when teaching students about physical activity, and the emotional aspects that need to be taken into consideration. One of the biggest challenges found during this assessment was the management and integration of technology. Learning to place voiceover and movies over PowerPoint was a technological challenge that I had not tackled before, and proved to be one of the greatest challenges of this assessment. However, being able to utilize this skill I believe will be a strong asset when integrating technology into the classroom environment, and gathering of credible source to be used as a scholarly article also proved to be a challenge. While I was able to find many sources regarding the topic, finding a scholarly article that is reliable in its resources was quite difficult. Discovering the effect that self-esteem has on an individual's participation in sport also challenged me to reflect on my views of myself, and how having that strong belief on myself will allow me to encourage my future students to feel the same way. That brings us to the conclusion of this vodcast. I hope you have gained new information and insights for how to improve the participation and performance of students in physical activity, and also the health benefits of physical activity. Thank you for watching.